I'm going to spend just a few moments walking through the World History Great Civilizations myNG Connect program with you so that you can become quickly familiar with all of the different resources that you have available to you. You should see a screen right now that has all of the different units as thumbnails. And basically the way this works is that you would go into the unit that you are looking for, and I'll go ahead and use the World of the Romans as an example. And once I click on that, I'm able to look at it as if I were in the regular book. It looks virtually identical. And what's nice about it is that you can do different things online. For example, these red X's that you see allow you to expand and give you possible responses to the different questions that you'll be posing in class. The other thing that you should notice about the teacher edition online is that all of your chapter planner PDFs and formal and informal assessment pieces are in one place. So the way it works is on the left-hand side is the chapter, and on the right-hand side are the sections in the chapter. So if you're looking at Chapter 10, the Roman Republic, directly below it where it says Teacher Resources and Assessment, these gold icons allow you to download these different PDFs. For example, the first one that says Social Studies Skills Lessons is going to deal obviously with some reading and writing workshops that you would be conducting in class. So what's nice about these is that you can preview them first, take a look at the time, the pacing of the particular lesson at hand, and then determine if you want to print it from there. Directly below that is the formal assessment piece that comes on level and below level. The way that you would be able to identify that is by chapter test A or B. That's the way it's labeled. Chapter test A is on level. Chapter test B is 1 to 2 grade levels below where the rest of the students would be at the intermediate level. And then directly below that is the answer key that follows for the Chapter 10 test. That test cannot be modified. However, our exam view option allows you to modify the questions as you see fit. That would be a one-time download, and it is not part of the myNG Connect program. Directly to the right of that, as I had mentioned earlier, are the sections in Chapter 10. So if you're looking at Chapter 10, Section 1, you will have your reading and note-taking PDF, your vocabulary practice PDF, and then your Section 1 quiz that directly relates to that particular section. And then directly below that are the different subsections for the lesson. So you'll have a biography that you can download, you'll have a whiteboard activity, and even some active history options where students are making comparisons with different economic or governmental patterns that they see as they continue reading. When I click on Section 2, it takes me to virtually more of the same. This time we're focusing on society and culture. In Section 3, we're focusing on military expansion. And then in Section 4 of Chapter 10, we're focused on the end of the Republic and going into the DBQs and the biographies for the particular chapter that we've been in. So as you can see, it's quite intuitive. Now, everything is on one page, as you can see here. And if I scroll to the next page, this is where I'm going to find my differentiation options. So what's nice about this is that depending on the group that you're working with, you'll have different strategies that you can pull up. For example, the first one that pulls up here is for striving readers. You'll have 3 different strategies that you can focus on with this particular group. There are differentiation strategies for inclusion, English language learners, the gifted and talented, and even pre-AP. So you'll notice that there are always different options that you have with these different audiences here. What's nice about this is that it is by chapter, and so you simply would pull up the group that you're working with, and obviously those particular lessons would form with the chapter that you're in. Now, I have been this entire time in the Teacher e-edition. If I go to the English e-edition, which is basically the student edition but online, you'll notice that there are a couple things that I can do online which are really wonderful with students. Again, it's going to look like a thumbnail sketch, right? And I can go into whatever section I'm in. Let's go into Unit 10. And once I'm here, you'll notice that at the very beginning of the unit, I can listen in on something that is being led by one of the National Geographic explorers for this particular unit. Take a look.
National Geographic, on location with Nina Berlin, journalist, author. You might know that Napoleon Bonaparte.
So that's being read to us. And I can also watch the video from here as well. What's nice about this is that this particular National Geographic explorer is walking us through some of the work that they're doing in the area, some of the discoveries that they've made in the area, and their overall knowledge about the area. Directly below the video is the English transcript and the Spanish transcript. This video is also available in closed captioning for the students that need that particular resource. So that is what you would come to expect at the very beginning of a unit. You would have the ability to go into a video and create a conversation with your students and then walk them through the reading itself that's on the page. Now, when you get to the timelines themselves do expand a bit because when you click on these yellow X's, it gives you just a little bit more information than you would normally find. What I like about this particular e-edition is that students can have access to all of this on their own. They don't need to ask you permission to go into a video or to read additional pieces of information. The other thing that you'll notice about the English e-edition that you will not see in the printed version is that the readings themselves can be modified at 1 to 2 grade levels below where students normally would be. So, for example, if I'm reading this particular section on what was the Enlightenment and I'm having quite a bit of trouble understanding what I've just read, I can click on this MT button and it automatically modifies the text at 1 to 2 grade levels below. And then you'll notice that to the right, it actually pops up with the vocabulary and full audio for the vocabulary as well. So this is a great reinforcement tool for those students that are weak auditory processors and need that modification and obviously need it reinforced many times. They have the ability to do that as they see fit. It is a modified text on demand, so that means that this section alone was modified, and if they wanted to go to ideas and influences and they didn't understand that section, they would have to click on the modified text button in order for that to come up as modified as well. So it's not going to modify the entire book for them. Simply, it's going to modify just the section that they are in. Okay? So that kind of in a nutshell is how that works. Now again, in the backpack, as you notice, all of my resources are kind of sectioned out. So if I want to go to the handbooks themselves, I have quite a bit of resources and information that I can pull from the online handbooks. The skills handbook is going to focus on reading, writing, and basic literacy skills that you're going to be building with your students, how to determine importance, cause and effect relationships, things like that. The primary sources are in their own handbook. Geography skills are taught in this particular handbook. World religions, and this is basically a bird's eye view of all of the major world religions in the world, Hinduism, Judaism, and so forth. And then there's an economics and government handbook that basically walks students through terminology that would be that would be very specific to the study of economics and government. So all of these handbooks are meant to be overviews. They're not meant to be deep dives, and simply add an additional resource for you to use when you are, obviously teaching the section, but also for students to be able to pull additional information for research projects and things of that nature. Okay? So I hope I've given you enough information to make you dangerous when you begin the school year. And if you need additional help, please contact your local sales rep, and they can put you in touch with the right trainer who can walk you through some specific questions that you may have about using myNG Connect World History. Thank you very much.